So, you want to learn how to use Obsidian. You've heard of its Zeus-like power, but you don't know how to download Obsidian, how to effectively take notes inside of it, what plugins to use, and how to immerse yourself in the community. You're in the right place. I, Aiden Helfont, shall now indoctrinate you into the Obsidian cult. I'm just joking. In this video, I'm gonna take you step by step through setting up Obsidian, learning its basic functionality, and installing the most essential plugins. If you stay until the end, I'll even add a little extra gift. Let's set sail, note-taking pirate, onto an adventure which will change your life. It's me again, but I've shrunken. So, firstly, what is Obsidian? It's, at its core, a type of rock. I'm sorry, I had to do it. But we are not worried about that type of Obsidian. We're worried about what Obsidian is at its core, which is a bi-directional link-based note-taking app with incredible customization abilities. It has cross-platform support and pricing. It has apps for Mac, Linux, Windows. It even has an app for iOS and Android, which you can sync with your computer. And here's the kicker, it's a frog. No, it's completely free. You can get most of the value of Obsidian without paying anything. However, there is one thing that I do recommend you pay for, and that is Obsidian Sync. And the reason is that it allows you to sync with laptops, between phones, with anything. And this is such a useful ability, such useful amula, that I think you should do it nonetheless, even though it does cost, I think, $9 a month. But why should you learn Obsidian in the first place, right? There's so many other apps you could use. You could use Google Drive, you could use Analog. Why Obsidian? Well, the reason is I personally have made my journey to Obsidian from Roam Research, Evernote, Google Drive, Notion. I've been literally everywhere with note-taking apps. And by far, maybe a little biased, but my favorite is Obsidian. And it's because it makes me feel free, alive, like I'm attaining nirvana. Probably not that extreme, but it makes me feel great. And I think there's 4 main reasons you should learn it, which firstly, it has incredible customization. You can use Obsidian at its base, which is, it's just a linked note-taking system of markdown files. But you can add new plugins to it from the community plugin list and make it whatever you want it to be. It's like building your own personal Lego system. You ever play with Legos as a kid? I played with them all the time. Obsidian makes me feel like that, except more epic. Secondly, its linked-based nature. The main power of a linked-based knowledge management system is it allows you to connect seemingly disparate ideas together. So with a normal analog system or a folder system, you can't connect ideas between folders, which is exactly what a link-based system allows you to get across. It works the same way that your brain stores information. Your brain stores information through associations, right? When you think of your birthday, you think cake, you think fun, you think brownies, because as a kid, I couldn't have normal cake. I had to have vegan brownies because my mom wasn't cool enough to let me have sugared cake. I know, I'm so sad. But picture a digital garden where instead of flowers, you plant ideas, and instead of garden paths, you plant bi-directional links. That is essentially what Obsidian allows you to do. It's like an ancient obsidian mine, and you can dig deep into the caverns of your musing, stumbling upon forgotten nuggets of wisdom, or the occasional bad read that managed to find its way in. Harry Potter, I'm joking. I did like Harry Potter when I was younger. I don't know why I said that. Third, you own your knowledge. All the files inside of Obsidian system, they're just markdown files on your computer. So if Obsidian crashed and burned, a meteor just blew up everything, your notes would be, well, if a meteor blew up everything, they probably wouldn't be fine. But in the case that they only blew up a smidgen of the planet and it happened to not be your computer, you would still have your notes. Fourth and finally, the community is incredible. Almost everyone that I've met in the Obsidian community is so so kind. And the Discord server's active. Nick Milo, in my opinion, the godfather of the community, has regular Linking Your Thinking workshops where he teaches people the basics of PKM. And the plugin developers are fast at work creating new plugins for customizing Obsidian. And you can't forget about content creators like me. Sorry, I had to do a little accent there. Also creating content, helping people learn how to use Obsidian. So if that sounded cool to you, you can save yourself tons of time by checking out my Obsidian Beginner resource list up above and getting all the resources I wish I had on Obsidian 3 years ago, including the best creators to follow, links to immerse yourself in the community, and my most popular curated content on Obsidian. So check that out and then come back to the video. And ultimately, those 4 things I just mentioned are why I think Obsidian is so fire. And it's why we're gonna learn how to use it right now. It only takes 3 minutes to set up. As your symbolic new teacher, this is your first assignment, setting up Obsidian. So first, go to obsidian.md on your browser. That's right, do it right now as this video is going. I'm watching you. Go into your browser, search this up, download Obsidian. You're getting started now. Click on the giant purple button that says download it for your OS. And once the file is installed, woo! You have now gotten Obsidian. Give yourself a pat on the back or the head. It's your preference. Then create a vault. When you run Obsidian, you're gonna be prompted with this pop-up right here. You're gonna click create that vault. If you're wondering what a vault is, it's just the folder that your Obsidian is stored on your computer. And then you're gonna name it something like Slop and Sloopin'. You can always change it later. And you're gonna pick a location to have it hosted on your computer. Once you've done that, your Obsidian's now live. At least it's operating. If it was actually live, that would be a little scary. Now that we've learned why you should use Obsidian and we've set it up, what are the basics of using Obsidian? So Obsidian uses Markdown format, which is a type of code that is very popular on the internet. And don't worry if you don't have a PhD in computer science, it's really basic. I learned it, I'm a psychology major. I also live under a rock. So if I learned it, you definitely can. All you have to do is create a new note by clicking Control-N, and then we're going to practice the 3 main Markdown formats below. So I've conveniently recorded this video in Obsidian so that you can see exactly how to do it yourself. So just follow along with me in your Obsidian app. Firstly, there's bold, which you literally do by just putting 2 asterisks around a sentence like this. If you're reading this, you're silly. I got you there. So the end result is just bold. Just looks like bold when you're off of it. For italics, all you have to do is put 1 asterisk instead, and you will get italics. And then for headings, the format is with hashtags. So you put those before a sentence, and depending upon how many hashtags you put, it determines the heading level. For heading 1, you put 1 hashtag, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6. That's a mouthful. And the end result is a nice little heading in Obsidian. It's literally what I'm recording this video with. Congratulations, that was literally the basics of Markdown. I know, that was really easy, wasn't it? And then we have the 4 basics of Obsidian note-taking, which are arguably the most important part of learning Obsidian, and especially this first one, linking. This is the core feature of Obsidian because Obsidian uses bidirectional links, which just means you can link both forward and backwards. We'll get into how to do that right now. All you have to do to link a note in Obsidian is type double brackets around a sentence like this. Once you do, you'll see that you can link to a note, like right here. Life is like a video game. That is a linked note inside of the note, new note. As you can see, it has not been created yet because it's not shaded in. And then if we had opened that note, then it will be created automatically and you can start typing in it like any other note. As you can see, life is like a video game. Life is like a video game because it has goals, rules, a feedback system, and a gameplay loop. And inside of that note, we can make even more links. Now, another cool thing, when I type just 2 brackets instead of double brackets, Obsidian opens up a search function, which allows me to interface my entire vault. So I can link any previous note I've created to the note I'm in. All you have to do is search, which is sick. As you can see, I can do it right now and just start typing. Look at all those notes popping up. Wow, so cool. Now, I can't emphasize how cool this is because it allows you to create a knowledge base that is greater than the sum of its parts. It's how you grow your forest of notes into a vast empire, the tree empire. Next, we have tagging, which is the second main way of organizing in Obsidian. And I mostly use it for organizing things by status or by type. So for example, in my system, I use it to differentiate notes I take on various information mediums. So my podcast tag looks like a microphone. So cute. And I also tag notes I haven't processed yet with an inbox tag, which looks like this mail thing right here. All you have to do to tag is literally just type a hashtag, except instead of like making a header where there's a space between the hashtag and what you type, you don't leave a space. You just put in whatever tag you want to use. We could go more in depth into tagging, but honestly, I think linking is the most important thing to understand in Obsidian, and I don't want to overwhelm you. So next is folders, which, I mean, you know how folders work, right? This ain't the 1500, I mean, we've been using folders for thousands of years. So the only thing you need to know is how to create them, which is literally you just open up this view right here, and then the folder creation is right there. That's it. There's how you create folders. And then we have queries, which are one of the most advanced and coolest ways to organize outside of linking. They're basically like search functions that are permanently on and visually show their results. So one of the main ways I like to use them is to search for the past 5 books I've read. So you can see I have a books mock right here with my most 5 recent books. And I can even go to it right now. Books mock. And look, it has my 5 most recent read books. You can see the code that I use right here. Don't get overwhelmed, right? If this is your first time seeing data view code, don't worry about it, all right? You don't have to learn this as soon as you start using Obsidian. Queries could easily be an entire video in itself, so you know they exist. Now you know every single of the 4 types of note-taking in Obsidian, and we're halfway to the end of the video. You're doing great. Now we're on to the basics of the Obsidian interface. Firstly, we have the search bar, which is at the top left of the screen, and this allows you to search the entirety of your database for any note, tag, or specific sequence of words you want to. So if I open up the sidebar, search bar is right here, and I can type anything I want and search up stuff. Then we have the quick searcher, which is like the search bar, except it searches specifically for notes. And that's just opened by Control O. And I can search up for any note in my system and open it if I wanted to, or create a new note. Yeah. The great thing about this search bar, this Control O search bar, is it does fuzzy search, which means that you don't have to type in the exact phrasing of the note you're looking for. You just have to type in something that's close to it. So let's say I wanted to search up for the script for this video. I wouldn't have to type in exactly the only beginner Obsidian guide you can see. I would just have to search up only. There we go, only. Yeah, you see how I didn't start with the? I just started with only, and it's right here. So fuzzy search, super cool. Then we have the command prompt, which is just Control P. And this is how you do commands in your system very quickly. So if I wanted to create a new note, right, I can see the hotkey for it right here by searching up opening the command prompt. Let's say I wanted to toggle the left sidebar. I could do that by just searching up in the command prompt. So I use this often to do commands fast and also to see what hotkey is associated with something. Then we have backlinks view, which is crucial to understand. It's on the right pane of the Obsidian, which you can open by toggling the command prompt and then typing in right sidebar. And I'll go to the backlinks right here, and you can see that it shows every note that has the note you're linked to. So for example, if I was back in my life as like a video game note that I have from before, and I go to the backlinks pane for games have more epic goals than real life, this note linked in life is like a video game, I will see life is like a video game in the backlinks pane because it is linked inside of there. And I could click this link and travel back to the original note. Isn't that sick? This is the power of bidirectional linking. By linking to a note in Obsidian, you link to the note inside of the note and in the backlinks tab of the note you link to. So you can create this linked system that allows you to grow your knowledge base over time. Then we have the local graph view, which is for more visually minded people, open by just doing the command prompt and local graph view. And then you can see this little local graph. If I was in the Games and More Epic Goals in Real Life note, then I could see that it's linked to the Life is Like a Video Game because it is it's like another node inside of this network. And if I created another note that wasn't linked to Life is Like a Video Game, like goals shape the way we see the world, you can see it's linked to Games Have More Epic Goals in Real Life, but it's not linked to Life is Like a Video Game. And by seeing that in the local graph view, I could then decide, okay, I'm gonna triangulate and link Goals Shape the Way We See the World to Life is Like a Video Game, where I wouldn't have seen that if I was using the backlinks view. So that's how the local graph view can give you some interesting connections that you wouldn't see in a different type of group. Now there's also the global graph view, which is where you can see your entire vault in a global graph. So for the sake of being awestruck, I'm gonna show you my global graph real quick. Bada bing. There we go. My God, look at it expand. Jesus. Yeah, you can see how many notes I have. It's quite a lot, and a lot of connections. My goodness. I have a lot of notes. So yeah, that's giving you an idea for how big this system can get. This is the accumulation of more than a year's worth of compounding knowledge. So in that graph, there's more than 550 literature notes, 170 YouTube videos, 60 newsletters, 60 blog posts, 10 school mocks, 15 non-school mocks, and 30 podcast episodes. So imagine having your own of the above a year from now. Wouldn't that be incredible? So to be honest, I don't use the global graph view that much because it's overwhelming. It's too big to actually take notes from. But if you want to learn how to compound your knowledge base itself, you should check out my Obsidian Beginner resource list, which has all of the resources that I wish I had on Obsidian from 3 years ago, including the best creators to follow, links to immerse yourself in the community, and my most popular curated content on Obsidian. So that'll be in the description below for you to check out, and I hope to see you there. So next, how can you make your Obsidian gorgeous with custom themes? This is the most important part of the guide. I'm joking. Making your Obsidian look pretty just includes doing Control this, and then going to the Appearance tab. And then you're just gonna click Manage Themes right here, and you're gonna have a whole massive range of themes you can choose from. So let me give you my 3 favorite ones so you don't get overwhelmed. First is the default theme, good old fashioned. The Cybertron theme, which was made by Nick Vilo. It makes your vault look like a cyberpunk game. Fun fact, that's actually the theme I'm using right now. So you can get an idea for what it looks like just by this video. And then we have the Everforest theme for all the plant lovers out there. Install whichever one fits your fancy. There are more that you can use. And the last part of this guide is where we're gonna go over the only 3 Obsidian plugins you need to start. So there's a lot of plugins, but I'm gonna give you the 20% of plugins I think account for 80% of the results. And those are, first, before we do this, you have to turn on community plugins. So you're just gonna go to the settings, community plugins, and then turn on community plugins right there. And those 3 plugins that you should get, do it while you're watching this video, it's gonna save you time, are Templator, first off, which is a plugin that lets you automatically insert variables and functions into your notes instead of manually typing them in each time. So you can automatically insert a daily note template for each day instead of manually typing it in. And to install it, all you have to do is search up Templator in the Community Plugins tab, and then you can install it. And then once it's enabled, you're gonna create a new folder called Templates. And then you're gonna go to Templator in your settings and put the Templates folder as your template folder location. So you can see the Templator and Community Plugins here, and then you can see the folder template location is Templates right there. And any notes you put in that folder are now gonna be considered templates. So when you create a new note, you can open up the Templator in the command palette and insert the template into it. So yeah, templates, insert template. If I go to command palette, and I have a whole bunch of different templates I can choose from that are all in my templates folder. Then we have periodic notes, which expands on the idea of daily notes and introduces weekly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly notes into your system. I love it because it's the major way that I use Obsidian for journaling and regular reflection and planning. And even if you don't use it for journaling, periodic notes is super helpful because I often use daily notes as my dumping ground for random thoughts. So to install it, all you have to do is search up periodic notes in the community plugins tab. And then once it's enabled, go into your community plugins tab so we can set it up, create a folder called calendar and subfolders called daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly. You can see what that looks like right here. Periodic notes tab and enable each of them, and then type in the respective date format and folder for each periodic note. So you can see how I typed in the date and respective folder for each one here. I'm gonna scroll through and just do that with your periodic notes as well. And now, every single day when you log into Obsidian, you can automatically open up your created daily note and yeah, voila. Also, if your date format's different than this because you live in a different country that doesn't do this date format, just do your date format instead. Now you might be wondering, which template should you use for your periodic notes? Well, you should check out my article, which I will link down below, how I create my best life with regular reviews in Obsidian. And I walk you through my exact process for doing regular reflection and planning in Obsidian. And I also give you my templates for periodic notes away for free. I know, big wins. And then finally, the last plugin is Data View, which turns your entire vault into a database, allowing you to do a ton of cool stuff. So I showed you earlier how I create a book notes mock for my most 5 recent books. And if you want to do that yourself, just go to Data View in the community plugins, install it, and you can have an entire vault that is now turned into a database. Now, Data View is pretty complicated compared to other stuff in Obsidian. So for now, it's important to be aware of it. But if you want to learn more about it, I would recommend checking out a more advanced Data View article. Literally just search up how to use Data View in Obsidian in Google and you will find some great articles on it. Congratulations! If you have made it this far, you have set up Obsidian, you've learned its basic interface and mechanics, and you've installed the 3 most important plugins. So you're probably thinking, what should you do next? I recommend checking out my beginner Obsidian resource list in the description below. It has all the resources I wish I had on Obsidian starting 3 years ago, including the best creators to follow, links to the community, and also my best content on Obsidian curated. As always, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and bye-bye.